So we have had time for our green putty to nicely dry. It's been over 24 hours, so it's going to be nice and cured, just like I've already mentioned. What we're going to do now is get out some sanding sticks. Got a couple to mess around with here. Now when going out and getting sanded sticks, online hobby shops, pretty much any online hobby shop's going to be selling some sort of sanding sticks. We've got our sort of flat sanding sticks here. They're normally something like you got a coarse, medium and fine, and then you got like polishing ones. We do have spongy ones as well. These are going to be good because when it comes to any kind of sanding, right, using a flat sanding stick, we're going to be sanding it flat, but we've got curves just here. You can see we've got a curvature going on just there. So coming in with a spongy sanding stick, it's going to sort of go with the curvature. If you sort of look there, it'll sort of conform quite nicely, because if we just use this flat sanding stick, we could potentially turn this into a bit of a flat top and it flattens out and it loses its shape. So first off, I've got like a bit of a medium, almost sort of fine grit here from what I can feel. We're going to start off by, we've got this nice flat area here and we can sand away with this. Right, and what you're basically looking for is to get rid of any steps, because if you remember, I could feel a bit of a step, right, and that is going quite nicely. And I don't know if you can sort of see, but what we've got here, I can see a little bit of the green putty, and because it's nice and green, we can sort of see what's being sanded away. So here can almost sort of see that potentially we've got a bit of a sink mark here, and that sand, that filler is filling in that bit of a sink mark. Because I'm sanding at this, but we've got this little sort of little patch just here, so that's good. It's filling in like maybe a bit of a sink area. Here I'm seeing that the green putty is maybe a little bit you can sort of see the colours not so faded as this one, and it's looking a bit more green, so maybe we need to sand this back area a little bit more just to help remove that. Using your nail, you can sort of feel if there's any sort of steps in it and whether you need to sand that a little bit more. For this curvy bit here, I do want to use a more of a spongy stick, but just to quickly get rid of most of the green putty, it's okay just to maybe sort of give it a quick sand, because our these are like sort of fine sanding sticks. This one's a bit more coarse, so I'm just getting rid of the majority of the filler. Right, but I don't want to go too far, because as I say, I don't want to risk getting a bit of a flat top going there. Next up we have, a sort of a fine-ish, almost medium, but mainly more fine-ish, but spongy sanding stick here. And we can now sort of probably go at this. And the whole idea is you start with the coarsest, so you get rid of all the lumps and the bumps, and then you want to sort of move down the sanding sticks, go finer and finer and finer, right? Because a coarse sanding stick is going to leave like sanding scratches on there, and when you come along to spray, you'll see those scratches. Right, so coming down the grits, you'll get rid of those sanding scratches from being coarse. As you go down to fine, the scratches get finer and finer and finer, so that you don't actually notice them. Right, so I'm just going to keep on sanding at this, and you want to basically keep going until, I mean here I am sort of feeling there's still a bit of a step going on here, so this is going to take a bit more sort of sanding to get that out. But as I say, we've got a finer sanding stick here. We move along with the sanding sticks, move down the grits, and this sanding stick should be the last one. It's nice and fine. Using an airbrush, you won't pick up any sanding scratches after using this, so it should be all good. All it is just making sure you can't feel any more steps or dips or gaps. I mean, I'm seeing a bit more work that might need to be done here. In fact, I am sort of looking at this, and maybe after sanding it now, it could do maybe a little bit more filler. So in this case, I'd probably get the green Well, actually no, I mean we've already got green putty in there. I could probably show you something else actually. So this is a nice filler. I mean the filler we've just used is like we paste it in, we get rid of the big gaps. As I say, it feels like there's a little bit more there. You can really see how the green putty is still showing very quite a bit, and that's because it's kind of dipped in and the sanding stick can't get to it to sand at it. So this is where we could do with adding a little bit more filler. What we've got here is Mr. Surfacer. This is good stuff for those sort of, I mean this is almost turned into like a little micro kind of bit of filling we need to do. So if we just take this off, this stuff does dry sort of pretty quickly, so you've got like a lid, and then we've got this thing going on here as well, right? And this stuff we can paint on. So I do always use the same brush for this because you know, you don't want to be using up all your brushes because this stuff will mess up your brushes. And then all we simply do is we can just paint that on, and as you can see it's quite thick, but not thick enough that we can't actually like paint this on. Right, so I'm just painting that on. I think we're good here, but if we're doing it we may as well just sort of go along here as well. Right, and you can leave that to dry for a bit. Even when it's not completely dry, sometimes I'll come in and maybe put another coat on top to see how that is, and that there should get rid of that little micro sort of gap that was in there. Cellulose thinners again with this filler as well as the green putty. We can use it to clean up our tools or any mistakes or anything like that. Just dip that in there, right? Kitchen paper towel, and we should be able to just wipe that up and get our brush, you know, clean enough that we can keep on using it and using it in the future. Because I mean I've been using this for 10 years for this particular job, and because I clean it with cellulose thinners, it's still good and going for this particular job. And so what we need to do is, again, we need to let this dry, just like our green putty here. We need to let this dry, and then again we can do that whole sanding process I just shown you. You know, medium grit, finer grit, using the sponges, and you just keep going until everything's all nice and smooth. No steps, no dips, no gaps, no nothing like that. And then I'll show you the next bit.